Customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you are a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you. Hey, revolutionaries, welcome back to the Customer Service Revolution podcast with John DiJulius. How are you, John?
I am great. How are you, Denise?
Fantastic. Fantastic. It's a nice summer day.
Yeah.
The sun is shining. Flowers are in bloom. It's a good time to be in Cleveland. Are you in Cleveland?
I am for a few more days, and I'm out of the country next week.
Where are you headed?
I get to. Don't have to. Well, I guess I have to because, contractually I have to, but, the whole have to versus get to. Montego Bay, Jamaica.
Ooh, what are you doing in Jamaica?
Favorite clients, sandals. Coincidentally, I don't know if you knew that, and this is how you led me there, but creating their customer experience action statement and pillar and nevers and always and day in the life.
Customer experience action statement. All right. Tell a little bit about what that is, why it's important.
It's everything. It's where we start with a client. Like we start with the day in the life. We do this all together because you almost need the day in the life of a customer video to understand why you should execute the customer experience action statement. So the customer experience action statement is what each and every employee should intentionally be doing every time they interact with someone else. Obviously, their customer, client, guest, tenant, patient, whoever, whatever you call your customer, but you should be doing it to each other, the stranger, the UPS man that is making deliveries. It's and you don't want it too big, like changing people's lives, because it has to be capable of happening in the smallest of, I'm calling you up just to see what time you're open today. I know no one probably does that anymore because you find that out on your phone. But whatever I ask you where the restroom is if I'm on your property. You want it to suffice the simplest, shortest interaction to the biggest, largest, 45 minutes, 3 hours. And so it's about messaging. It's drawing a line in the sand. It's my favorite thing we do. I love all the things we do, but this changes the culture. This is transformational. I think it's the favorite thing our clients experience. And a lot of times I think it's fluff. We have isms and, credos or sayings. This isn't anything like that.
Yeah. So a company has a mission statement. They have a purpose statement. They have core values. They have isms. Really, why do you need? How is it different?
Yeah. And I'm the same with oh my God, we have so many.
Something else to advertise.
Right. Something else that the employees won't remember. Right. And listen, as an entrepreneur who started 3 businesses, I love my mission statements, my purpose statements, our core values. And I could bore you with, the DiJulius group is to change the world by creating a customer service revolution. And we have a definition for that. And if you go up to any of my 150 employees in the 3 organizations and you ask them what the mission statement is or the purpose statements are, I guarantee you, unless the person that trains on them, I guarantee you no one can say them verbatim. And I'd be annoyed and say, Denise, that was half our mission statement and half one of our core values, right? But I'm okay with that. The only thing my employees better know verbatim is the customer experience action statement or the client experience action statement. And the reason why is any company's mission statement is really who they want to be when they grow up as a company. We want to be the number one financial institute, blah, blah, blah. But what's that mean? Key banks, they want to be the number one best bank, I'm butchering it, mission statement, in the US. Okay, great. But if you're the teller, what does that mean to you? If you're the loan officer, what does that mean to you? It's not actionable, and it's not supposed to be. Purpose statement, key banks, is we want to help our clients and communities thrive. It's a great purpose statement. New Days USA, they serve veterans, mortgages, loans. Theirs is to help our veterans achieve the American dream. And I'm totally butchering it because they've allowed us to, or serve, because they've served us. I totally butchered it, but it's awesome. But it's not actionable. So Starbucks originally was to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighborhood at a time. That's great, but that's not measurable. If you come in and I'm the barista and you order, your drink, venti soy latte, and I give it to you within 90 seconds with a smile, right? Which is a great experience, from that standpoint. Did I inspire and nurture human spirit? Probably not. But that's now the difference of the customer experience action statement. When you do that, whatever that is, and let's take the most generic statement, make customers happy, right? And that's not a good one, but let's say that if I can achieve that in every interaction today, that I come in contact with someone, then over the course of time, 200 positive visits, a couple years, the Starbucks one, to inspire and nurture the human spirit, one person, one cup, one neighborhood at a time. That gets achieved. Like, I'm a Starbucks, that's a brand I can't live without, for 20 years. They've done that for me cumulatively. But I don't know if they ever did it for me one time. But that's how we achieve the mission and purpose, is by consistently, intentionally delivering the customer experience action statement.
So how do you create one? What's the structure of one?
So again, replace the word customer with whatever you call them: guest, client, patient, experience action statement. The statement itself is what each and every employee has to do. And then there's 3 pillars. That is the how. So again, make customers smile. Make customers happy. That's what you have to do today. Anyone you come in contact, whether it's an email, phone call, face-to-face. That's what, all right, but that's not enough. Okay, how do I make customers happy? Well, then you go to the 3 pillars, which are so important. One of the pillars stands for your expertise. That however I'm dealing with you, you might be the call center, you might be technical support, you might be my account executive, you might be my hairdresser, whatever it is. No one is smarter than you at your position. You're educated, you're professional, you're consistent, you're operationally excellent, blah, blah, blah. But let's go back to the Starbucks experience. If I go in and order my venti soy latte, now it's a venti mango dragon refresher with a water-based, not lemonade. Gotta say that. Okay, so let's say I order that and I get it exactly. I ordered it 90 seconds from a barista with an attitude, right? That doesn't work. That's not gonna make me loyal to Starbucks or pay the prices, make price irrelevant. So that's why the second pillar comes in, which is how we make the customer feel intentionally, right? That they're not next, they're not 201B, my 1030, the venti refresher with a water base. That's the transactional side. However, just doing that, if I come into, my local Starbucks here in Aurora, and they're like, "Oh, John, how's your 3 boys? Where you been traveling to? Do you, venti mango dragon refresher with a water base?" Right? Love all that, right? That's that middle pillar, how they made me feel. But if every time I take a sip, it's like Russian roulette, they didn't get it right. It's not mango dragon, or I know it's not a water base, it's lemonade because it's so sweet. I don't want that. I want both. I want someone that makes me feel like a human being, not next, not a transaction, is present. I feel seen and heard, and I want their excellence at their job, right? So whatever that looks. And then the third pillar, so the first 2 have to happen every time. Be brilliant at the basics, operationally, expertise. The second pillar, make me feel like a human being and that you care about me and it's not just a transaction. The third pillar is the above and beyond pillar. When opportunity presents itself, in the Starbucks world, it might be that, a little girl, you got her hot chocolate and she dropped it. So Starbucks above and beyond pillar is called own. And that barista could say, here's another one. Instead of saying, well, I didn't knock it out of her hand. Or if I take a sip and I have that funny face, funnier than normal, and they are encouraged to read that and say, is that not what you wanted? I'd be happy to make it again, right? That's owning the experience. Or if you have a huge to-go order, help you carry it out to your car. The above and beyond, not everyone needs it. And we don't have the resources to do that to everyone. But when, if you're paying attention, capitalize on that opportunity.
Okay, let me make sure I've got this right. You have your overarching customer experience action statement, and then it's upheld by 3 pillars, always 3 pillars.
Yeah. Always 3 pillars. One company did 4, and a couple years later, they reduced it to 3. There's magic in 3. We remember 3. Psychologically, scientifically, there's magic in 3. The moment you introduce a fourth to anything, you forget, it's so weird. You can remember 3, but the moment you introduce 4, now I don't remember, maybe 2.
And the 3 pillars are the expertise,
the human interaction,
and
above and beyond. And that's not what we call them.
Can you give some examples of some different ones?
Yeah. So I'm going to throw it back to you. What's the DiJulius Group's customer experience action statement and 3 pillars?
Carpe momento.
Which means what?
Seize the moment.
Okay. And what's the 3 pillars?
The 3 pillars. The first one is know more. So be the expert in customer experience.
So let's talk about that. Lindsay, who's our superwoman admin, invoicing, accounting for us, and our client concierge, right? We don't expect her to know what, the consultants know from consulting, but no one better be smarter than Lindsay at getting a client what they need for an upcoming workshop, or if they're attending our academy or whatever that is. No one better know more than her.
She knows before they know what they need.
I always say if a client reaches out and says, does John have handouts for this workshop? Or can we get his bio, an introduction or headshot? Or we're not doing our job, right? She knows, because it doesn't change from client to client, keynote to consulting, what they need. And if they're asking, and she's unbelievable, she's the role model of living this. But no more, in this case, our first pillar, doesn't mean we all know the same. We can't. What you know, I don't know. What Lindsay knows, I don't know. What me and Dave and the other consultants know, Lindsay she probably could by now, but that's like the call center at John Roberts Spa. They don't know how to color your hair, but they better know how to educate you on how much time you're going to need, what it's going to cost, so you can plan your day, and who to get you in with the right person. So carpe momento, know more is the first one. Our second one?
The second one is care more. The last one is
give more.
Last one is give more.
Which means what to you?
Give more than they expect. Do more, give more than the client, whoever you're interacting with, more than they expect.
Yeah, and we've learned this from our clients. The iteration, know more, care more, give more, is really easy to remember. And one of my favorite ones was working with Superior Glove, which is a manufacturer out of Canada. Go Canada. And their 3 pillars was know it, show it, own it. And it should be obvious when you roll it out. You don't make it obvious. I mean, you don't assume it's obvious. But every time we've shown that, we did that with them about 15 years ago, maybe longer. Every client wants to steal those. They're so good.
They were again listed as one of Canada's top managed companies, best managed companies.
Yeah.
For over how many? It's over a decade, consecutive years.
Yeah. Key banks, since we talked about their mission to be the best bank in the U.S., their purpose is we help our clients and communities thrive, but their client experience action statement for the branches and call center is make every moment matter. And the how, I love theirs. Head, heart, hero. Head, heart, hero. Head is curious, illuminate, inspire, but basically know your job, whatever you're dealing with, financially in that role, the teller, the loan officer. The middle one, to how you make them feel, is heart, and it's actually an emoji of a heart. Care, connect, trust. That's where you find out they're forward. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Slow down. Don't just take their deposit, give them the receipt, and move on. And then the third pillar, the above and beyond pillar, is hero. That's, be empowered, relentless, wow. Whatever that, you need to go out and brush off someone's snow because it's snowing bad and it's an elderly woman. But here's the thing with the, so head, heart, hero. The middle one is the emoji of a heart. And it was when we were doing this, and Kevin Sloan on our podcast, the VP of commercial banking from KeyBank, we talk about this. So sharing any insider information here. When we were creating this in the customer experience action statement workshop, they had love as the word, and that they got into a huge debate. We're a bank, you'll lose 50%. Traditional bankers and the mindset, old school. I mean, KeyBank just celebrated their 200th anniversary. And then there was another, camp arguing we need to evolve. We need to be an anti-bank. And there's nothing wrong with the word love. And we should love, who we're doing it with, who we're doing it for, all those things. So it was funny. They compromised on the emoji, the heart emoji, and took out the words love. And then you can kind of infer how you take that, the heart. So, they thought they'd lose the left, or whatever, the side to, the old school traditional banker. So I love it. Head, heart, hero. So it's another easy one to remember.
That's a good one. I like it. So what's the best way for people to get started creating their action statement?
Obviously, the DiJulius Group does the best job. And we're probably one of the few companies ever that does this. And so work with the DiJulius Group. Next up is there's a whole chapter dedicated it in the customer service revolution. We spend a day on this of the 12 days in the Customer Experience Executive Academy that people come to. We take 25 a year. They come to Cleveland every quarter for 3 days for 12 months. And this is one of the days, teaching them how to go back and facilitate this and how to market it and how to keep it top of mind awareness, TOMA. And if you haven't listened to the Kevin Sloan interview with KeyBank, that was the major point of me interviewing him. And he had been on 2-3 years ago because they did such a good job with their client. They call it Moments Matter. That's kind of the project, Moments Matter. And they did such a great job with the day in the life. They did a day in the life of a team member. They did a day in the life of a client, and they did everything. They did all our methodology, and they did such a great job with it. And that's what he was on 2 years ago. Well, the reason why I wanted him on, that he was just on maybe at the end of May, maybe it was the beginning of June, was because how they've kept this going. Very few clients are able to keep the momentum, right? And I always say, achieving world-class status, well, it never happens, but is not a ribbon cutting ceremony where we're not done. You just have to, progress, not perfection. And they've done such a great job of TOMA, top of mind awareness, and how they advertise as the micro learning, how they advertise a piece. Maybe this week they're going to say advertise the head pillar, your expertise. Maybe next week they're just going to focus on the hero pillar and say, here's an example of someone who is a hero for a client, to inspire people to think about that, and they just do such a good job of keeping this, front on top of mind awareness, mind share, fighting for mind share, that 5 years later, they're still, it's still as powerful as it was in the first 12 months they rolled it out.
Is that what makes it successful, that they keep it top of mind?
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. It really is. We have I think a podcast and articles and stuff, the 6 steps to a successful launch. And the first one is create the system, right? Create it, whatever the customer experience action statement, the customer experience, whatever it is, whatever are the commandments, the zero risk, service recovery, whatever your system that you are creating, that's easy to do. We sit in a room and we get some smart people together and we create that system. The second step is we launch it. However we launch it, we get everyone together, all franchisees together, all GMs. We do it on Zoom. We teach them how to launch it, to their teams. That's easy. It's a fireworks show. It's exciting. People leave pumped, but that's usually where it drops off. The third one is that you have to certify it. Just because, you were as an employee, forced, told to watch this, sit through this training, doesn't mean you paid attention or bought into it. So certifying is a couple of things that I can look at your department or your location and say, Denise, you're 12 people, only 8 of them have watched our customer experience action statement launch, whatever that is. Hopefully you're not watching it, but you're doing it. But then the second part to that certification is, of the 8, who passed it, who memorized it, who can answer it on the spot. The fourth one is the accountability piece, that we're measuring that's actually being done and executed in real person. The fifth is, what's the impact on the client, customer? Is it moving the needle? And then the sixth stage is sustaining it. And where I talk about what KeyBank did, doing it for every new employee, the training, refreshing it. And that's really what the Kevin Sloan thing is, how well they refresh it and they train to it.
Years ago, I remember, I think it was Ritz-Carlton had a Credo card that would have the most important things, ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen. How are companies using something like that for customer experience action statement?
Yeah. So, we still do the Credo card. A lot of our clients do with the customer experience action statement, the 3 pillars, and then it's usually the nevers and always on the inside, the customer bill of rights that we call them. But I do believe that, digitizing it is probably more popular. So put it in any place that the employee will see it. We don't want the customer to see it. It's not something you advertise to the customer. It's not something like your mission statements and core values you put on the website. And that's why for over 12 years, after we helped Starbucks create that, it was on the inside of their green apron, because it wasn't for the customer guest to see, it was for the employee to be reminded of. But a lot of our clients on their computers, it'll be their screensaver. Make every moment matter, right? Head, heart, hero. It'll be, an employee break room. It'll be, we work with Domino's. Theirs was, they all have to wear a baseball cap at Domino's. It was on the inside of the baseball cap bill that, when you're putting it on, you're going to be reminded. It should be on your app and any internal communications. It's really cool. I didn't know this, but John Roberts, our salon that I'm not involved day to day, they do a really good job of branded. Their customer experience action statement is to be the best experience. It used to be the best experience of our guest day. And it's similar to the DiJulius groups. Know more, love more, give more. Okay. They made one change. They changed it from be the best experience in guest day to others day. So it applied to each other, employee and employee. It applied to, again, the UPS man or stranger, whoever. But they do a really good job, like KeyBank, of branding it. And it's on everything. And, when they do their shout outs, I want to tell you how Denise was, the best experience in this guest day. They're caught you doing some right cards now have, caught you being the best. They're no longer caught you doing something right, caught you being the best experience in someone's day or others' day. So, how you can advertise that is really important.
Very nice. I like.
Yeah. Ashley from John Roberts just does an incredible job.
She's great. She is. Okay. So in the show notes, I'm going to put a link to the 6 steps to a launch that you talked about, as well as the Customer Service Revolution book, because there are instructions there and how people have created customer experience action statement. I'm going to put information for the membership, because
the live stream membership,
because there is going to be a day in the life, because there is going to be a customer experience action statement live workshop that will be coming up next year. But there are good ones coming up this year. Every quarter, there's a new one. I will put information about the Customer Experience Executive Academy, information on how to get a hold of Claudia if you would like to do a workshop with your team and have John or Dave have one of the consultants come out and facilitate that for you.
This is whether we do it for you or you do it, the customer experience action statement and pillars are a game changer. They ignite your revolution. It's you drawing a line in the sand that we are going to be obsessed about the experience we deliver to anyone. And this isn't going away. It's not Flavor of the Month, Program of the Year, or Management by Bestseller.
Thank you. Anything else you want to add about the customer experience action statement, John?
No, but I did have a thought, because we've talked about recently the kindness revolution and just, this is all about, with kindness recession. On our last podcast, we talked about, because the unhappiness of people in the U.S. is we are, lonelier and unhappier, and studies have shown that we're dropping. I had something happen recently that made me think of it. And I don't know who taught me this, or I heard it. And it's kind of common sense, but it doesn't, at least for me, it's not common. A popular athlete, not professional, but an Olympian, who was a teammate of my son's, who's been to my house, has slept over. I've actually done training for his business, wrestling clinics. Got into some trouble, all over the news, all over social media. Um, and it's just, it's just funny how people turn, and so I don't know what made me, reminded me of this, but I just reached out and said, hang in there, you'll get through this, and you'll be better for it. And then I sent it to my kids, because I just wanted to remember. I think this is something we forget about, and I'm sure I have. We're always there for, when people are going through good times, and Olympic champion, and now we're all, in line. But when they go through struggles, we disappear. And I just wanted, because I'm sure he's in a dark place right now. So I just think it's important that friends, acquaintances, family, that's when we show up, not necessarily just when they hit their great accomplishments and they become the CEO or whatever it is. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Reach out to someone today that you think might not be having the best day. Yeah. Give them share a little light, be kind.
All right, revolutionaries. Thank you, Denise.
Thank you, John. We'll see you next time.
All right.
What separates world-class customer service companies from everyone else? One significant factor is having someone dedicated to designing and managing the customer's experience. The Customer Experience Executive Academy trains leaders to excel at this. Find out how to enroll now. Contact Claudia at thedijuliusgroup.com for details.